The Chantilly Mustang heist that left General Motors blind for 900 days. In the world of industrial espionage, getting your hands on the enemy's secret weapon before they launch it is supposed to be the ultimate victory. But in April 1964, General Motors appeared to pull off the acquisition of the century, only to realize they were holding a ticking time bomb. This is the Fisher Bodymaster file. Physical evidence proves that days before the public knew the Ford Mustang existed, GM personnel had already executed an unauthorized access of a pre-production unit, still wearing Ford's internal manufacturer license plates, within their own restricted sector. They tore it down. They measured every weld. But that was the beginning of their cognitive failure. Because the acquired unit was a weak, beige, 6-cylinder model, it confirmed the bias of GM engineers that the Mustang was just a cheap, cobbled-together product destined to fail. This file isn't a trophy of intelligence. It is the crime scene of their arrogance. It explains exactly why the mighty General Motors sat paralyzed for 900 days while Ford took over America. Was this a lucky acquisition by GM or a counterintelligence trap set by Ford? If you want to see the evidence that fooled the biggest company on Earth, hit like and subscribe. The investigation starts now. Let's put the narrative aside and look at the forensic evidence frozen in these grainy Fisher body photographs. The car on GM's dissection table wasn't a high-performance K-code 289. It wasn't a GT. By cross-referencing the trim levels and the specific contrast in the black and white photos with Ford's early Job 1 production logs, enthusiasts have identified the victim. It was a 1964.5 hardtop finished in paint code Z, Chantilly beige. This is a critical detail. Code Z was an incredibly low volume color, found on fewer than 600 units in the initial run. It is the definition of a grocery getter, unassuming, boring, and invisible. But zooming in on the rear bumper of the teardown photo reveals why this specific beige car is the most dangerous vehicle in Ford's history. Look at the license plate. It does not carry a standard state-issued dealer tag. It clearly displays the MFR designation. That is a manufacturer plate. This single stamping destroys the popular theory that GM simply paid a dealer to hand over a car early. A dealer never would have possessed a car with MFR plates. This vehicle belonged to Ford's own internal press fleet or engineering division. So, how does a Ford-owned asset migrate 30 miles north from the Rouge plant to the hostile territory of the GM Tech Center? It implies a breakdown in logistics so severe it borders on collusion. We are looking at a 24-hour phantom loan, a car hauler driver paid cash to take a detour, or a mid-level Ford manager trading secrets. GM didn't just buy a Mustang, they intercepted a classified shipment. And once the logistics mystery was solved, the real damage began, not in the loading bay, but on the engineer's drafting table. As the beige coupe was hoisted onto the lift at the tech center, the room's atmosphere shifted from anxiety to professional disdain. Fisher body engineers were prepared for a technological leap. Instead, they were looking at a fossil. Forensic dissection revealed the Mustang's dirty secret. It was a mechanical Frankenstein, stitched together from the spare parts bin of the economy Ford Falcon. Up front, they found a rudimentary McPherson strut setup. Out back, a solid live axle hanging on parallel leaf springs, technology that dated back to the stagecoach era. To a GM engineer in 1964, who was currently refining the complex independent rear suspension of the Chevrolet Corvair, the Mustang represented a technological regression. To understand why GM didn't panic at this sight, you have to enter the engineer's worldview trap. In 1964, General Motors possessed the most sophisticated engineering culture on Earth. Their hierarchy was built on reducing NVH and pursuing complex innovation. To them, engineering meant solving physical problems. When they looked at the Mustang's undercarriage, they didn't see a solution. They saw a shortcut. They saw leaf springs that would cause wheel hop during hard acceleration. They saw a chassis that lacked sophistication. The data confirmed their bias. The 170 cubic inch inline-six engine produced a mere 101 gross horsepower. Furthermore, analysis of early production units indicates a complete lack of torque boxes, resulting in a unibody structure that was alarmingly flexible compared to GM standards. But this technical mediocrity was actually a fiscal weapon. And because the Mustang shared 80% of its DNA with the Falcon, it required almost no new tooling expenses. This allowed Ford to set the impossible base price of $2,368. The Fisher Body Report correctly identified the Mustang as structurally inefficient, but they committed a fatal error. They analyzed the bolts, but missed the business model. They mocked the engineering, while Ford was selling the dream. The Fisher Body Report missed the invisible weapon hiding inside that crude chassis. They saw a weak six-cylinder engine. What they failed to see was the modular loophole. Because the Mustang was built on the wider Falcon platform, its engine bay was cavernous by compact car standards. It was designed from day one to swallow the 289 cubic inch Windsor V8. This was the Checkmate. GM's Chevrolet Corvair was an engineering marvel, but its rear-mounted flat-six architecture was a physical dead end. There was simply no room to shove a big V8 into the back of it without destroying the handling. Ford's primitive live axle design meant they could drop a 271 horsepower K-Code engine into a $2,368 car and create a street rocket. GM realized their mistake exactly 4 days later, on April 17, when Ford sold 22,000 Mustangs before sunset. The beige car report had lulled GM into a coma. They thought they were competing against an economy car. They were actually fighting the first modular muscle car. The panic inside Detroit was immediate. A confidential memo went out: kill the Corvair strategy, copy the Mustang. The result was Project XP836, codenamed Panther, the future Camaro. And here is the ultimate humiliation. To catch Ford, General Motors had to abandon their advanced engineering principles. They went to their own basement, grabbed the boring, cheap Chevy 2 Nova economy platform, and dressed it up in a sexy body. And it took GM 29 months, nearly 900 days of total market silence, to admit that Ford's technologically regressive idea was actually the future of American performance. This $100 file, rescued from a dusty table at Hershey, is not just a souvenir. It is a monument to corporate blindness. It teaches us a brutal lesson in industrial warfare. Intelligence is not insight. General Motors possessed the physical object. They had the beige metal, the spot welds, and the measurements 96 hours before the public launch. But because they analyzed the Mustang with a slide rule instead of a checkbook, they missed the revolution. They saw a technologically regressive Falcon. The world saw freedom. That unassuming Chantilly beige coupe wasn't just a stolen prototype. It was unintentional counterintelligence. It acted as a Trojan horse that convinced GM to sleep for 2.5 years while Ford burned the market down. So, I leave the final verdict to you. Was this a brilliant heist by GM that backfired? Or did someone at Ford intentionally leak the weakest car in their fleet to mislead the enemy? Look at that manufacturer plate one last time and tell me your theory in the comments.